Welcome back to Spirit of Life. I'm Dave McLaughlin, and my guest is Mark Bateman from Chaplaincy Australia. Welcome back to the program, Mark.
Thanks, mate.
So we were talking before the break about, I suppose, your conversion story, almost ending up off the road in a big semi-truck.
Yes.
So what happened after that? You ended up, with the police and everything. And what were you thinking then at that time?
Mate, the interesting thing was that when Adelaide Brake Service pulled the breakaway valve apart and found this O-ring, and he's showing the police officer this guy genuinely had a brake failure, and the police officer's pointing to the skid marks of this one wheel saying, well, how do you explain that? And I was kind of going, maybe I better not, because I don't think they'll understand whatsoever. So I didn't. But for me, I had...
it's very difficult to say, well, it was a
mixture, absolute mixture of emotion going on, because I'm alive and I shouldn't be. I've got this unexplained thing that's happened. How do you explain that? I'm going to go home to my girl and just... the police are giving me a hard time, and this guy comes up with he definitely had a brake failure, and all these emotions are going on inside of me. I finally actually got my wife to come and get me off the mountain, and she talked to me and she said, "Honey, what time did this happen?" And I said, "Well," I told her roughly the time. She said, the preacher where we were at church tonight stopped preaching and said, "I think Mark's in trouble. We should pray." And so here's this sort of call to prayer across the other side of the city of Adelaide. This is all just incredible for me. I went to church with my wife the next Sunday. I wasn't very polite to people, so I was still feeling that hurt in there. And people would say hello, and I'm very sort of stony-faced and arms crossed and not wanting to talk to people. And I was happy to sit in the back row, but my wife wanted to sit in the second row, so... we sat in the second row, and while we're there, during the service, a lady started to sing a song that goes, "Because he lives, I can face tomorrow." And all these sort of emotions I'm feeling, and questions I've not got answers for, and how did that really happen? And God, I called out, was that you? And all this sort of was going on in my heart at the time. And then this lady sings this song, "Because God lives, I can face tomorrow." And it was like, for me, that was the answer that I've been searching for. God, you really are real. And because you live, I can face tomorrow. I couldn't hold back tears. I'm sort of trying to look cool in the second row with my hand in my head. But I think the trembling of the tears sort of gave me away a little bit. But in the end, the preacher asked, if there's anyone here who wants to give their heart to Christ, then please let me know. And I stood up and said, I do. So I entered into an adult conversion. That day, I could not stop feeling clean and free, and all that anxiety, even the hurt from what happened in the church construction, all that was gone. And I felt free. And I knew that I had had an encounter with God, and that I was born again. I gave my heart to Christ. The amazing thing that unfolded not long after that was that I made him a promise. If you show me in a way that I can understand, I'll serve you all the days of my life. So that happened in the May, and then in the January of the next year, I was in Bible college and training to be a minister, and I was age 22 at the time, and so I was pastoring my first church when I was 25. And so I've been 27 years pastoring churches, and the last 5 years I've taken on full-time managing chaplaincy. My heart is that we should have churches that are more out there in the community. So about nearly 5 years ago, God challenged me not just to pastor a church, but to pastor the community. And I had a friend come visiting me and preaching in my church, and he said, I can see two loves in your heart, one for your church, and I love the church. I love growing up with churches, seeing people give their heart to Christ, seeing their little ones grow up, and then you do sort of pre-marriage training and marriages, and then there's babies, and I love church. But he said to me that I can see these two loves, and because of these two loves, but one's got to stop. And so I got to the place where I surrendered pastoring the church, and I've taken on this role in chaplaincy full-time.
On that note, we have to go for another short break, but after the break we'll come back and talk about how you got involved in Chaplaincy Australia.
Okay.
You're watching Spirit of Life. We'll be back in a moment.